Hi, this is Michelle Aiden with the Veritas Institute at the Capitol today with Representative Hutchings to talk about House Bill 390 regarding law enforcement transparency. Can you just give us some information about your bill?
Sure. The last few years, there's been a lot of talk about law enforcement and what they do in their interactions with the public. And I think there's a lot of misinformation out there. And the question is there or not, right? And so that's what we're trying to clear up with this bill is we just want to know. We just need to know. It's transparency. And quite frankly, they don't really have a mechanism, law enforcement doesn't right now, to be able to communicate any of that kind of stuff to the public. And so, I mean, they could, but it's not organized, it's not structured. And so what we're providing is just a mechanism where they can go through every year, and we already do this on some things. We've implemented this over the last couple of years on a couple of other items like no-knock warrants and things like that. So we're going to expand it. And we're going to add a couple of other things in. People just want to know, are they using appropriate force? Are they doing everything they can? There's been a lot of talk in the news lately about escalation of force, or rather de-escalation. Mm-hmm. And the best practices for doing that and new trainings and all that kind of stuff. But most importantly, law enforcement's a critical part of our society, right? I mean, literally, where would we be without it? Mm-hmm. People get frustrated, people get upset, but everybody wants it. Everybody needs it. And we just need to make sure that we've got good open communication that, and in most cases, when you turn the lights on, things are a lot clearer. When things are dark, people tend to get a little afraid of what they don't understand, what they don't know, in some cases for no good reason. And that's why I'm running the bill, is let's find out. Let's take a look. Let's see. And so what it'll do is it'll add another layer. A couple of things we're going to try and work into it. One is, are they using armored vehicles? So like big force, right? Mm-hmm. And if they do, for what and why? And in some cases, it may be completely justified to do that. And then also officer-involved shootings and some things of that nature. So we want to know when the force gets escalated really high, and we're talking about the top level where we're pulling out all the stops. We'd like to know, how often does that happen? Mm-hmm. Who called for it? Why did we do it? And where was it used? And just see, give people a chance to look at it, because a lot of times they really do. You look at the circumstances and they go, yeah, I could see that. The guy's, locked up in a house with a 50 caliber, rifle with armor-piercing shells. Who wants to walk up there? Because something like that, and there really are weapons out there that body armor won't stop. That, being in a patrol car isn't going to stop it. Mm-hmm. And so does it make sense to protect, our people in blue? Does it make sense to protect the community? To be able to bring in something that at least equals, on the good side, what's being thrown out there by, those that are trying to, do the evil stuff. So we'll see. It should be pretty straightforward, and hopefully it'll bring a lot of conversation. And quite frankly, what I hope and what I honestly believe will happen, like I said, when there's not a lot of information and there's a lot of unclear elements, people tend to just make things up to fill in the gaps, and nobody ever makes up happy things or best case scenario. I don't know why, but everybody and they're not sure what the answer is. The answer is always bad. Mm-hmm. So you know what? Let's put an answer out there. Let's find out and let's make it public, and then let's have the conversation about real data.
That's great. So Utah passed the original reporting bill 2 years ago, and it's the only state that has it. Why do you think no other states have such a thing?
They're slow. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're way more innovative, awesome. Way smarter. And and a big part of it, honestly, is because our own law enforcement folks, they want it out there. Mm. It's really hard. And again, when you don't have good information, people make stuff up. Yeah. And so it's much better. It's actually to their advantage to be able to have that information. Let's report it, let's put it out there, and then talk about the real numbers instead of what people think is happening or what they feel is happening. Let's put some context around it. And so they were great. They really were. We had lots of meetings. They talked about how they could do it, the software we would use, who'd be in charge of it. And honestly, they put a lot of effort into making sure that got done, which I think is great. And so why other states haven't had that kind of cooperation, I don't know. But I'm glad we have, and quite frankly, it's a model that others could pick up on right away. And I think maybe they're waiting to see kind of what those results would be, see if it was better or worse. And quite frankly, I think when you look at the conversations we've had in the state about what lives matter, and especially when we have a talk recently about blue lives and whether or not blue lives matter, it's interesting when you talk about force and the use of force and the amount of force. And then you put into that how many people were killed by law enforcement and how many law enforcement were killed and injured. And it really does shape the conversation in a different way.
That's perfect. If you want more information or to contact one of your legislators, just click on the link in the description below. Thanks so much.